Andrew Westoll, our guest, he's a primatologist, he's an author, he's a journalist, and he loves chimpanzees.
Of course
I have to say you love them. I didn't ask you that.
I think it's fair to say.
Is it fair to say all of them, or were there some you didn't like all that much?
Well, that's the best part, right? You get to meet these animals who have these incredible personalities, and you realize that, just like humans, there are some who rub you the wrong way, and you rub them the wrong way, and you don't have a really good relationship, and others you get along like houses on fire.
Yeah, and you dreamt about one called Tom.
Tom.
I'm assuming that was a dream.
That
Tom
was a
wasn't
dream.
in your bedroom.
He did not wake me up in my bedroom, but I did have a dream of him doing that, and it was a mixture of sort of utter extreme surprise and fear, because I didn't know what he was doing in there. But this is what happens when you spend time with chimpanzees every day. They work themselves into your dreams.
And you were there 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks, living right there.
Living on the farm in a little basement apartment.
So not so fancy.
No, the digs were fine. The digs were fine. But I would walk down to the chimp house every morning at about 9 o'clock and get to work.
And they knew you.
They knew me.
By then?
By then they did, yeah.
So Binky, you say morning, Binky, or?
Absolutely.
How do you begin?
Morning, I'd walk in, you know, I'd hear the scream of welcome once they knew me. And then I would walk around and I would see everyone that I recognized, and I would say good morning and hello and what are you doing? And I'd hang out with them for 15 minutes and just sort of connect with them. But then the work started. I wasn't just there to hang out.
Right.
I had to be a worker. So I was stacking trolleys with all their fruits and vegetables and their water.
Because they're vegetarian.
Mostly, yeah.
Except for those muffins.
Well,
I guess the muffins are veg.
Yeah, there was nothing in there, just fruit. But then I would also make their smoothies. And the smoothies were key because that's how you get all their little medications in that they need every day. You crush them up and put them in a smoothie, and it's their favorite thing in the world. But if you make them too green, they'll pour them out.
I see, just like us.
Yeah.
Practical Joker?
Binky.
The bub?
The bubster, yeah. He just, it has two sides to it. One is the really funny side where
he looks like he might be.
Yeah, he knows. He loves playing tricks on people, teasing people, trying to sticking stuff through the cage and pulling it back real quick because he can't get it. But then the other side, which is a little bit worse, is he needs attention. So if he's not getting enough attention, sometimes he can cause a lot of chaos in the chimp house.
And did you see a difference between the male and female chimps, attention-wise? Do the females need more attention, males need more attention, or could you tell?
Hard to generalize like that, but definitely from the chimps I met at Fauna, the females happened to be chimps who seemed a little less attention-grabbing, for sure. Yeah.
And dominant alpha chimp, Jethro. He's a big guy.
He's a huge guy, but he's the great reconciliator. Whenever there's an argument in the chimp house, a fight even, he is usually the one who runs around hugging everyone.
So he's a peacekeeper.
He's a peacekeeper.
Enormous male peacekeeper,
Huge.
I must say. How
and
huge?
Beautiful.
How much would he weigh?
He's got to be over 200 pounds, and he's just gigantic. Yeah.
Romance? At the sanctuary?
Between the chimps?
Between the chimps?
The funny thing is, these chimps, because they were raised in such strange beginnings, they never really got a handle on their sex drive. So there's curiosity when the females go into estrus, but they don't know what to do, and they've never closed the deal.
Really? So they're so deprived in their beginnings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so tortured.
Yeah, I mean, they were living in captivity. They were living in tiny cages alone. They had no contact with their mother. In the wild, a chimp is in physical contact with their mother almost all the time for 5 straight years. And they had days. Binky, who's one of the more well-adjusted chimps, had 3 months with his mom. And that's why people think maybe he's a little better adjusted.
Okay, and where does the father go in the wild?
In the wild, he's off. He's in the troop, but he's more the alpha, taking care of the troop and running the show. The mothering is definitely the female.
And Chance, the chimp, she's they call her Chancy Pants. She's a little nervous.
She's really nervous. She's really nervous. Chance was born to a hepatitis positive mother, and since the scientists didn't know, it was a 50-50 chance that she would have hepatitis.
Right.
So they locked her in a room for the first 3 years of her life. And she spent the whole first 3 years, most important developmental time in her life, in a room alone. And then she came out of the room, they tested her blood, she never had hepatitis in the first place.
Really?
That's why they called her Chance.
Why did they take so long to test the blood?
They were testing it throughout, and they figured 3 years was the time.
Enough?
Yeah.
Is she the picky eater? The one that doesn't like peppers on her pizza?
So very occasionally they will get a piece of pizza, and there's actually great footage of Pepper picking the hot peppers off of her pizza. Yeah. They're very particular. They're just like you and me.
Yeah.
Some like Tom loves endives. A lot of the other chimps don't like endives.
And when they say they don't like it, can they throw it?
I
know they don't talk. They certainly make noise.
Oh yeah, and they speak with their body language. They speak with gestures, and it takes a long time to figure out.
And that was fascinating because you said after 10 weeks in the sanctuary, or maybe shorter time, and you went home to your dog Max.
Yeah.
And thought of him in a whole new way.
I was welcomed at the door by this animal that I'd spent 3 years living with. And I'd been away living with the most gestural species, trying to get a feel for what their body was trying to tell me. I walked in the door and I saw Max, and it was like seeing an entirely new being. I was aware of, I didn't quite know what he was saying, but I was aware of so much more nuance in his body language, the way he was greeting me, the way he was walking. It was really amazing. And it's since sort of dissipated, but that first moment I'll never forget.
I'm sure. Like we look at our dogs and say, or ears back, not happy.
Right.
But not at much else.
No.
Really.
No, and I mean, everything is telling you a story. Yeah.
How powerful that is.
Yeah.
Pepper, the chimpanzee.
Yeah.
How many years was she in the dark, in the awful lab?
She was in there, I think, for
almost 27 years. How long do they live?
In captivity, they can live up to 55 or 60.
Really? I think I read something that said she was like 27 years.
She was in there for 27 years.
She barely saw the light of day.
Yeah, and she was never touched by any chimpanzee or human. And touch is fundamental to a great ape, to a chimpanzee, and to a human.
Yes.
For so many reasons.
And psychologically, does Gloria Grow or her husband or you or somebody in the sanctuary work with them psychologically?
You know what? Every single minute a human is in the chimp house, whether they know it or not, they are working psychologically with the chimpanzees. They're creating relationships with them. They're furthering their relationships. They're providing them with solace and support. All of these things help the chimps come out of what they went through and become chimps again. And that's really what the book is about.
Yes, very much so. Amaya, she likes bags. What girl doesn't like bags? But she likes bags of treats.
She loves bags of treats. Yeah, they occasionally will get these beautiful treat bags, and she'll stick her head in there and go one by one through them all, and picking them out and putting them around, and then selecting which thing she wants.
So food.
Food, yeah, treats, yeah.
Yeah, and what is a treat to a chimpanzee? Like a good day is? A
good day is a beautiful smoothie made by me.
Of course.
Grapes.
And you got better at that.
They did. They love grapes. They love so many things. They love raisin bread. They would get fresh baking once a week.
The woman who made the muffins, the cinnamon muffins.
Yeah,
she must have been the character.
She was, yeah. She would just stand there all day. She was the mom of one of the caregivers, and she'd come in from the eastern townships and bake for the chimps every week, and just leave it all in the fridge, and we'd use it all week.
And when you use it, you say you use it. I know you don't walk behind the wire.
You wheel it over to them.
I see.
On
and then
a trolley.
Is there like a hole in the cage or what?
Yeah, there was.
An arm comes through?
I think they've changed it, but there was a point where there was a section on the ground where you wouldn't walk, and that's where the porthole was. And you'd wheel the trolley under, and they'd get their food there, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Any escapes when you were there? Any red alerts? No.
No. It's very safe. There was one a long time ago, but they've now got extra locks and extra sliding bars on the caging. It's very, very safe right now. Yeah.
The activist in you, I know it's well honed after your incredible experience. How many chimpanzees in cages being experimented on in North America? Any idea?
Yeah, it's amazing. There's 1,000 chimpanzees left in labs in America. The United States is the last developed country on the planet to be still doing this kind of research. Other countries are funding it, of course.
Of course.
But it's all happening in the States, and there's a movement right now to get all chimpanzees out of laboratories into sanctuaries like fauna to put an end to this kind of research. So,
And as you know, some people would say, look, they're only animals and we're humans and we need to figure out what's wrong with us, so why not?
I'll tell you why not. They have learned almost nothing from decades of science on chimpanzees. The HIV debacle is a debacle, and scientists agree it was a debacle. They breeded a whole bunch of chimps for that program. It didn't work. Over 80 vaccines worked in chimps and didn't work in humans. The science was a disaster, and it really does. It's not me that's saying it needs to stop. It's scientists in the States that are saying
That was the most fascinating chapter, really, in your book about why not do this anymore.
Right, when we went to Washington. Yeah,
Yes.
because Gloria's a lobbyist as much as a caregiver, so we went to Washington to lobby Congress.
And what was that like?
It was incredible. We were walking in the halls of power where all the decisions are made, and all the decisions to keep chimps behind bars are
Sure. So you go to the Oval Office,
made. Yeah,
or
if
do
only.
you?
It was the Rayburn building, which we know from Hollywood movies, the Congress building, and it was incredible. Gloria made an amazing speech at the end and brought a whole bunch of people to tears with her stories of Tom, and she continues to lobby on their behalf.
And when a chimpanzee dies in captivity, do all the chimpanzees mourn? Do they have a ritual?
They all have different ways of dealing with it, but we now know that chimpanzees grieve in very similar ways to humans. So a lot of the females, there will be a visitation. All the chimpanzees will want to see the body. The males will occasionally, the younger males will try to pull the body and wake it up. But the females, at fauna anyway, groom the corpse as if they're preparing her for something. And there's incredible stories Gloria's told me and that are in the book about chimps that have passed away and these incredible 3-day rituals as the chimps say goodbye in their own way. It's pretty amazing.
What can we learn from them about us?
So much.
A lot.
So much. People ask me what I learned from this book, and I'm still unpacking the experience. But the two things that I kind of try to focus on is A, the incredible resilience in the animal kingdom. And that's not to say we should be doing these things because they can recover, but it's to say that we maybe all have this kind of resilience in us. And also the incredible compassion of humans towards animals. We always hear the bad stories about humans mistreating animals. There's some amazing stories out there about treating animals really, really well.
And how is fauna funded?
Entirely through public donations.
Really?
So, absolutely.
Will she be able to carry on with it when the chimps go? Are there more chimpanzees to come, or is it regulated differently now?
Yeah, it is. The laws have changed. She's not allowed to accept any more chimpanzees. But that said, Binky and Regis and Jethro, they're 24, 25. They could be there for another...
They could outlive Gloria.
Absolutely.
Well, I shouldn't say that, but
Well,
it's possible.
It's possible.
Good luck today at the BC National Award for Canadian Nonfiction.
Thank
I'll
you very
be there.
much. Great. See you there.
And you'll be $40,000 richer if you're a lucky guy.
Goodness, hope so.
It's a good prize. And you're listed for the Charles Taylor, too.
Yep, that too.
Right?
Yep.
See, a wealthy author.
It's going well. Let's see.
Perhaps.
Let's hold on. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for
Thank you
having me
so
in.
much. The Chimps of Fauna Sanctuary, Andrew Westoll, primatologist.